Jack Smith's Deposition, Part 1, the opening statement. Welcome to Law and Society. The reason why I am going over Jack Smith's deposition page by page, word by word, and summarizing it as much as I can for you is because it is another amazing reminder 5 years after Donald Trump's insurrection of what Donald Trump did. And whoever was smart enough, if they're Republican smart, wanted to start this deposition and go after Jack Smith, I thank you sincerely because the country needs a refresher course about what Donald Trump did. And coming out of Jack Smith's mouth, it has a certain weight to it. So what I'll do today is read you parts of Jack Smith's opening statements and part of his lawyer's statements. And then tomorrow, in the next episode, I will start talking about the questions that are being asked. Now, mind you, it's a 9-hour deposition. There's a lot of information there. But what I will pick out will be portions that are relevant for us to remember and realize that the threat of Donald Trump continues to this day while this particular criminal prosecution was dismissed. It was perhaps the biggest miscarriage of justice in American history for that to happen. With that said, let's start reading part of the transcripts. Smith's lawyer says, "The most powerful person in the world has said that Mr. Smith should be in jail because of his work as special counsel, because he had the audacity to follow the facts and the law and apply them to that powerful person. And DOJ seems eager to follow Trump's order despite the facts and the law." So Jack Smith says, "I was taught to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. The decision to bring charges against President Trump was mine. But the basis of those charges rests entirely on President Trump and his actions as alleged by the indictment returned by grand juries in 2 different districts. Our investigation developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election and to prevent the lawful transfer of power. Our investigation also developed powerful evidence that showed that President Trump willfully retained highly classified documents after he left office. He repeatedly obstructed justice in retaining those documents. I am both," and then he continues another excerpt, "I am both saddened and angered that President Trump has sought revenge against career prosecutors, FBI agents, and support staff simply for doing their jobs and for having worked on those cases. They are the best of us. They have been wrongly vilified and improperly dismissed from their jobs. Charges had nothing to do with political beliefs or his plans to run in 2024, Jack Smith says. We took our actions based on the facts and the law. We followed DOJ policy and observed legal requirements. If asked whether to prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, I would do so regardless of whether that president was a Republican or a Democrat." Then there's a question of the collection of the phones, the toll records. And Jack Smith starts out by saying that the collected toll records were collected after calls had taken place, and they do not include the content of those calls. Those records were lawfully subpoenaed and were relevant to completing a comprehensive investigation. Remember, one of the big reasons why House GOP is all up in arms about having Jack Smith testify is because 6 of their phone logs were also subpoenaed, and they think that they are protected from that, and we'll talk about that later. But I don't think that, and neither does Jack Smith, think that the speech or debate clause applies to these records. Then Jack Smith continues on to say, "January 6th was an attack on the structure of our democracy. in which over 140 heroic law enforcement officers were assaulted. Over 160 individuals later pled guilty to assaulting police that day. Exploiting that violence, President Trump and his associates tried to call members of Congress in furtherance of their criminal scheme, urging them to further delay certification of the 2020 election. I did not choose those members, Jack Smith says. President Trump did. So that is the introduction, and it's pretty powerful, and it's basic on the facts, and it's easy to understand. And as we go through Jack Smith's deposition, we are going to see more specific facts coming out, and I welcome that detail, because that detail is something that we did not get to hear, because the case did not happen because Donald Trump won, and the special counsel division that was charging and prosecuting these cases were closed. So with that said, that's a small beginning, and I hope to give you small snippets of what's coming in the depositions in the coming days. So thank you for listening. Please remember to share, like, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.